Hi, I'm Sarah from the Fontenot 4. I'm really excited today to be co-hosting this link up with Julie and Allison. I thought that the idea for this link up was just amazing. I thought what better way to get to know each other than to hear our stories of how we came to know Christ in our lives and what the turning point in our lives was. Changed the course of our lives and probably our families' lives too. For me, I was born and raised in the Catholic faith. I was married in the Catholic Church. My two children were baptized in the Catholic Church. And in 2008, my family moved from Houston, Texas to Charleston, South Carolina. And we struggled to try to find a Catholic church that was the right fit for our family. To give you a little bit of background, we have two daughters. They're now 8 and 6. At the time, they were 4 and 2. And our younger daughter has a lot of special needs, and she's medically fragile. So it makes our family dynamic a little bit more unique and just more challenging to find a church where we can all kind of fit in. When we moved here, that just wasn't happening for us. In fact, our first experience in a Catholic church here in Charleston was just awful, and it really left a mark on our family. And while we did go to church a few more times beyond that experience, it really tainted my view of church in general. Particularly, probably, unfortunately, the Catholic Church. But that's my experience. I'm not knocking the Catholic Church. This is just where I was coming from. So, in a particularly challenging point in our lives where we've got this child with severe disabilities and a lot of medical issues, we were finding ourselves being torn further and further apart from the church. And the further we got from church, the further, of course, we got from God. And I was just having a lot of issues in my life where I blamed God a lot for a lot of the things that we were going through. I want to clarify that I've never blamed God for having a child like our daughter, because she's my daughter and I love her, and there is absolutely nothing I would do to change her because she is our daughter. But just other circumstances in our lives, I just had a lot of anger and blame issues, and it was really, really struggling. And several months later, it was a friend at the time who she just felt like I could use something, that I needed God in my life. I needed something, and she invited me to come to her church with her family one Saturday evening. And I agreed to go, and my older daughter went with us. And I was a little bit skeptical because it was a large non-denominational church, and I really don't have a background with that. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I really didn't know what to expect. But she took me, and when we got there, I realized that there was this amazing opportunity for my daughter because they had this incredible children's program there. And so she went off with this family's children to their program, and I sat with them in the worship center and listened to the service. And something hit me. I'm not even sure exactly what it was, but something about that service just struck me to the core. And I realized that in this moment, I was experiencing God in a way that I never had in my whole life. And I realized in that moment that the thing that I'd been missing from my life was God, and I really needed that in my life. So I went home and I told my husband all about this experience that I'd had. And of course, we were still kind of skeptical, not sure of what to do because it wasn't a Catholic church, and it was a really difficult thing for us to kind of figure out where we were going with this. But we decided, we'd keep going there. And my daughter wound up in the hospital right after that experience within a week. But in the couple weeks after I went to that service, there were so many signs that kept happening that were pointing us in the direction of continuing to attend this church. if we met so many people who had some sort of connection with the church, something in their lives pointed to that church or something that they had experienced in that church. And these were all signs to me that were telling me that, yes, you need to go there. I know it's not a Catholic church, and I know this is not your tradition, but this is where you need to go. And so we started going there, and I feel bad now, but it was something that we kind of kept hidden from, well, particularly my family, which was very strong Catholic. This is what you do. You're a Catholic. This is what you do. We kind of kept it under wraps a little bit as best we could until, I just had to get it out there that this was where we were at. This is where we were going, because every service I went to, message after message after message after message, I was receiving words from God that felt like they were directed right at me, right at us, right at our family, right where we were at, right at that time. And just the icing on the cake of all of this was that this church not only has an incredible children's program that our older daughter can participate in fully, but they also have an amazing, amazing ministry for special needs children. So if you are ever in Charleston, if you're ever looking for a church that has to that can accommodate your children with special needs, just look me up. I can point you in the right direction, because this ministry in this church, this special needs ministry, saved our family. This church saved our family. And just finding God in this church has been the biggest blessing in our family's life. And since we've been there, we've just been able to see that everything that we've been through as a family has led us to this point in time. Everything has led us here to where we are right now. Everything has led us to be in this church where we could be surrounded by people in this church family, this ministry that is there to help us, to build us up, to support us. And it's just been the most incredible thing ever. And while my daughter isn't well enough most of the time to be at church, to go to these services in the special needs program, they're still supporting us. They still help us out, and they are there for us. And it doesn't matter if she can't physically be there. They want to be there, and they are praying for us, and they do things to help and support us all the time. And it's just been the biggest blessing. So I know this vlog is running long, but I just want to say that where I found God was after finding this church. I was able to see that, God was at work in our lives, in and through the people that we were around at the time. And he's still working in our lives. And every day that goes by, I'm learning more and more about how he is working in our lives and in and through the people that we've been connected with since we've been in this church. And rather than looking at our situation over the last few years with anger, I'm able to see through the situation most of the time. Some of the time, things are still difficult. Sometimes it's hard not to see how difficult things are sometimes, but I'm able to look through the situation, and I'm able to try to be thankful. I'm able to see things to be thankful for, and I'm able to recount blessing upon blessing upon blessing through the situations that we are in. And I just have to say that while we've been through a lot of difficult times, I'm sure that by no means we've not gone through the worst situations ever imaginable. I know that people go through far worse than what we've been through, but for what we have been through, I have to say that looking back on our situation and looking here right now, that God is faithful through it all. He has been there with us every step of the way. Even when we didn't realize he was there, God has been there for us. He's been carrying us. He's been holding our hands. He has been guiding us along this path, no matter how difficult it's been, no matter what we've been through. God has been there. And I know it's hard to see sometimes, but I trust and believe and have faith that God is there. He has been there, even when I didn't think He was, but He was there. He is here now, and I know that He will be with us going forward. And that's really my testimony. I know it's maybe not the most powerful thing. I didn't have this huge life event that just was this big, huge aha moment, but that's it for me. And God is just so faithful, and I'm just so blessed and so thankful. So that's my testimony, and thank you all for listening, and I'm looking forward to listening to all of the other link ups today. Thanks.